Welcome to the City of Florissant podcast, where we talk anything and everything related to the beautiful City of Florissant.
Hi, I'm Mayor Tim Lowery, and welcome to another edition of the Mayor's Podcast Show. With me today is Haley Elkins. She is the Community Outreach Coordinator for Emergency Preparedness, St. Louis County Department of Health, and Zachary Koch, who is the Regional Response Planner for St. Louis County Department of Health. Thank you, Haley and Zach, for joining me today. I just want to tell you, obviously there's been a lot going on in the city of Florissant and certainly most of St. Louis County. And certainly we've had a lot of opportunity to work with the St. Louis County Department of Public Health, SEMA, and FEMA. So we certainly appreciate your efforts in being here in the city of Florissant and helping us out with the resources.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Not a problem. So let's talk about community resilience a little bit.
Yeah, so the idea of community resilience, to me, it's the idea that a community can absorb kind of the trauma, crisis, disasters that happen to them, and then they have that ability to bounce back. That is, in my own words, of course, a lot more goes into it from the technical standpoint.
Sure.
But I think that generally that kind of sums it up.
And certainly, and that's what, I think that that's our role, that's your role, is to make sure that our community does survive and that, that we give resources to people and we give them the opportunity to be resilient.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a matter of getting resources out there, making sure that there's information available, knowing what is immediately available in the community, and then making sure that we're mobilizing those additional resources on various scales.
Sure. So going forward, how do we make sure that our community is resilient? What is it that we have to do going forward as far as what can we do as a community?
Right. So when you think about it, if you have more resources, of course, a community is going to be ahead and be able to be more resilient if they have, access to technology, funding, all of this kind of expansive stuff. But what we're really trying to focus on and get communities to focus on in the smaller level is the idea that, the people are what makes the community resilient. And it's not always these things that make the community resilient. It is people's skills. It is their drive. It's their motivation, their empathy, compassion for their community. That's what's going to allow the community to keep moving forward after a disaster.
And of course, I feel as, public officials and things like that, and of course with your positions in the public health, it's our job to make sure that people are getting the resources that they need and that the community is resilient, and to making sure that we can go forward and hopefully get back to the way we used to live our life. And so I think that that's kind of an important thing as to what we can do as far as public officials.
Absolutely. And that's, as I mentioned about mobilizing, resources, things like that, several weeks ago, we had the commodity pods that were providing, cleaning kits, food items, things like that throughout the county, and working with our partners through, other county departments, as well as our COAD, which is the Community Organizations Active During Disaster. So really making sure that we have those relationships in place and being able to respond to these situations.
And obviously, when I seen the flooding that morning, I knew that we were going to need a lot of help here in the city of Florissant. So one of the first phone calls I made was to Dr. Sam Page, our county executive, and right away he was already talking about getting us resources and doing what we could for the community. I talked to the Lieutenant Governor, getting the state to do the same. So it was so important for us to get the resources that we needed for our people, both our business community and certainly our residents. And I couldn't thank St. Louis County enough for everything that they have done, but certainly the public health and everything that you guys have done to help the city of Florissant through this. Is there anything else? Is there any other information out there that right now that you would like to get to the people of the city of Florissant, the way that St. Louis County can help, or other information that they need with regards to the flooding?
Yeah, absolutely. So currently there's several disaster recovery centers that are being operated. One is currently being held at the Rankin Technical College, which is in the Mary Ann Lee Technology Center. That's open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and that's until further notice. So that's an ongoing resource to the community. It's not necessarily out of the public health department, but it's through FEMA.
Yeah, and then through the health department, there are also free well water testing kits, since after flooding, it is really important if you do use well water to make sure that you are getting that tested, to make sure it's still safe for everyone in your household. Those kits are available to anyone who lives in the impacted areas, They can be picked up through August 26th at the John C. Murphy Health Center, which is over in Berkeley, and then the South County Satellite Office, which is in Keller Plaza, and the West County Satellite Office in the Clarkson Wilson Center.
Very good. And certainly, the one thing I do want to mention is certainly our community's been hit very hard with the flooding, but certainly a lot of areas in St. Louis County have been hit very strongly. In fact, we did have a resource center here at the JFK Center, a one-day event, and it was overwhelming the amount of people that showed up there. So there's certainly a lot of need in our community, and like I said, we have to be there for our people and try to get the resources necessary. So I appreciate your effort with county health, public health, and everything that you guys have done. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
This concludes another edition of the Mayor's Podcast Show. We are Florissant Strong. Thank you.